Catching a serial killer is hard. I want to say that right away because this episode's not going to be me sitting here acting like every major investigation should have been solved instantly by a guy with Google, a YouTube channel, and a bowl of cereal. But then you got the other kind of case. Decades later, people still look back and ask the same basic question. How did this happen? Today, we're going to talk about a few of the worst police mistakes in serial killer history. Welcome to Breakfast Cereal. I'm Josh. Just a real quick disclaimer before we get into this. This is obviously not me claiming that these right here are officially the worst police mistakes in serial killer history. This is just several cases that kind of stood out to me because of how avoidable, disturbing, or revealing the mistakes were. So if there's a case that you think belongs in this conversation, let me know down in the comments, because I guarantee there's tons more. Okay, so with all that said, let's start with one that actually might be the most infamous police failure in serial killer history. Jeffrey Dahmer. In May of '91, a 14-year-old boy named Conrad Synthesymphone escaped from Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment. Guy was injured, disoriented, and clearly not okay. And by the way, also completely nude. So people out on the street, nearby kind of saw him, and obviously they were concerned enough to call the police. Police arrive, and down comes Dahmer. He just tells the officers that Conrad was his adult boyfriend, and that they had been drinking, yeah, sure, and they had an argument, but, everything is okay, it's fine. And somehow, that explanation worked. The officers didn't even take the time to properly identify Conrad. They also didn't recognize that he was clearly just 14. On top of it, they didn't bother to check Dahmer's ID. And if they had, they would have discovered that he was a convicted sex offender on probation for molesting Conrad's older brother in 1988. Instead, they returned Conrad to Dahmer. Back to the apartment. Dahmer murdered him later that night. Now that is not some small mistake. It's not like somebody just, forgot to check a box or misplaced a form by accident. This was a life or death failure in the most literal sense. A tape of the cops talking to dispatch after the incident surfaced after Dahmer's arrest. They can be heard laughing at the situation. Listen.
The intoxicated Asian naked male was returned to his sober boyfriend, and we'll be a minute. My partner's going to get deloused at the station.
Just brutal. And it highlights the way the gay community was treated back then and how routinely they were just pretty much ignored. Let them handle their own lover's quarrel. I'm not getting involved in that. You're a cop. You don't get to discriminate. Unfortunately, that isn't reality, is it? And the part that makes it even worse is that Dahmer didn't stop there. It's not like he was like, ooh, that was a close one, better not ever do that again. No. Probably, if anything, it gave him more confidence. And he killed again and again afterward. When people talk about police mistakes in serial killer cases, this one is usually near the top for good reason. It was a living victim. Outside, literally trying to get away. Found the police, yet was just returned. Next up, Peter Sutcliffe, the Yorkshire Ripper. The hunt for the Yorkshire Ripper was massive. 13 women were murdered and 7 others survived brutal attacks. Police were drowning in information, tips, reports, interviews, witness statements, and possible sightings even. Then in the middle of all that, they received letters and an audio tape from someone claiming to be the killer. Listen.
I'm Jack. I see you are still having no luck catching me. I have the greatest respect for you, George. But Lord, you are no nearer catching me now than 4 years ago when I started.
That person became known as Wearside Jack. because of the accent. His voice had a distinct Wearside, or Sunderland or something like that, accent. So the police, what do? They shift their entire investigation to focus on that area. And they eliminated suspects who didn't have the accent. Problem was, it was a hoax. The letters and the tape. Guy wasn't a killer at all. Police gave the letters and tape enormous credibility. Way too much. You see, the real killer, Peter Sutcliffe, guy had been interviewed by police 9 different times in connection with the case. 9 times. But because he didn't match the voice that the police had, started to trust, he just kept slipping through. Again and again. This kind of mistake is terrifying because it's not just one officer making one terrible call. It's straight up tunnel vision. It's an entire investigation getting hypnotized by like one shiny object and then bending everything around it. Tape shows up and suddenly the killer has to sound like that. But why? Why does a random tape get to become the boss of the investigation? That would be like someone sending me a letter saying, "Hey dear breakfast cereal, I'm the Zodiac killer. No one's caught me yet because I'm wicked smart." And then I immediately just rule out everybody who doesn't sound like they're from Good Will Hunting.
Well, I got a number. How do you like them apples?
I mean, that is not detective work. Imagine Peter Sutcliffe himself, like the actual Yorkshire Ripper, hearing about this Wearside Jack guy. I mean, he must have not been able to believe his luck. Thanks, Jack. It also goes to show you just how out of control these guys are, how they seemingly just cannot stop themselves. I mean, Sutcliffe here essentially had himself a get out of jail free card. He could have heard about Wearside Jack and thought, you know what, if I stop now, they'll never catch me. They'll keep looking for this other guy. But no, he kept going. I mean, he could have moved across the pond to the United States, started again on that side of the pond, But no, I mean, he kept going. You see, a true serial killer can't stop and won't stop until they're eventually caught or dead. I mean, they may take a long break, like BTK, for example, but they will come back out of the shadows. Probably why Zodiac is either dead or in jail for something else. And here's the other thing. The serial killer cases attract hoaxes. They attract weirdos, attention seekers. I just mentioned, the Zodiac, same thing. A live on TV hoax. Here.
I have headache.
Right. How long have you had those headaches, Sam? In a long time?
Since I killed a kid.
I mean, it wasn't him at all. Now, police obviously have to examine these things, but looking at a piece of evidence is not the same as building your entire case on it. You just can't put on blinders like that. Now, eventually, yes, Sutcliffe was caught. But honestly, no thanks to the investigation, really. Pretty much just by chance. And if you want that story, go check out this video. I'll link it in the description and up above. Now let's talk about Robert Pickton. Robert Pickton was a Canadian serial killer who preyed on women from Vancouver's downtown east side. Many of his victims were poor, struggling with addiction, involved in sex work, or otherwise treated by society as disposable. He became known infamously as the pig farmer killer because he disposed of victims by feeding their remains to his pigs. Like something out of a horror movie. Or Snatch. Or Hannibal. The police had several chances to catch this ugly hick. And I mean, aside from just guessing that he was a serial killer based on his resemblance to that guy from Wrong Turn, or those freaks from that episode of X-Files. No, the police were alerted to Pickton several times. In '97, he was even charged with attempted murder, assault, and forcible confinement after a woman he stabbed ran bleeding from his farm to the road where the police were contacted. But Prosecutors dropped the charges in '98 because they deemed the victim unstable and an unreliable witness. She was stabbed. I mean, what more do you need? I mean, I don't care if she was a sex worker. Or, I don't even give a shit if she was fucked out of her mind on heroin at the time, for that matter. She's stabbed. Fucking hole in her body from a knife. Pretty tangible evidence, if you ask me. But police just left Pickton alone. Then later in '98, police were tipped by an informant that a regular visitor to the farm had seen women's purses and ID cards in Pickton's trailer. And in mid-'99, another tip came in stating that Pickton had a freezer full of human flesh. Okay, but guys, you gotta understand something here, okay? I mean, this is the guy who owned and operated Piggy Palace Good Time Society. Yeah, that's the actual name. A sweet party venue in a shitty smelling pig farm. Cool. I mean, let's go. I don't know, apparently Nickelback played there before they were famous. But I mean, eventually the police had to investigate some of these tips, right? Right? Thankfully, yes. But hey, don't get your hopes up. So finally the RCMP, that's like Canada's FBI. And no, they don't always dress like this. And I mean, you guys have fucking dumb looking cops too, so shut up, okay? Plus, I mean, can we all agree that Britain has the dumbest? Anyway, the RCMP show up to interview Pickton in '99 regarding these tips. Flesh-filled freezer, etc. Pickton, of course, just denies everything. Nah. Huh? No, I have no idea what you're talking about. Then, get this, he asks if they can postpone further investigation until after the rainy season because the farm was too muddy. And the RCMP agreed and just left, allowing the case to sit dormant for months. Excuse me, too muddy? You fucking kidding me? I mean, what do you have those stupid boots and those weird pants for anyway? Yeah, I know I said they weren't wearing the uniforms, but maybe one guy was, okay? I mean, it's just appalling police work. The guy, Pickton, was eventually caught, and just like Sutcliffe, like we said before, essentially accidentally. The police were executing a search warrant on the farm, yeah, but for firearms. Not related to murder at all. Just their illegal firearms. And while searching the farm, they kind of stumble ass backwards onto the belongings of missing women. You want to put simply, these missing women were not treated the way other missing people would have been treated. There's a hierarchy of victim attention. There shouldn't be, but there is. Next, Harold Shipman. This one's strange because it doesn't look like the standard cliche, if you will, serial killer case. No creepy van or guy lurking in a parking lot. No basement full of red flags. I suppose he sorta has the glasses. I'll give it that. But you see, Harold Shipman was a doctor, and a respected doctor at that. Not a creepy doc like Hannibal or Mengele. This is exactly why he got away with it for so long. Shipman murdered patients, many of them elderly women, while working as a general practitioner in England. Some places have the victim number at 200 or even more. Crazy. One of the biggest failures came in '98 when concerns were raised about the number of deaths connected to him. Now, of course, it wasn't the police that were concerned or onto him. It was a local cabbie. This guy. See, he started to notice something strange.
People were having a call from the doctor, and within a couple of hours of him visiting them, they were passing away.
Now, we're not talking about 1 or 2 patients here. We're talking more than 24. So police finally investigated, but the inquiry did not uncover what was happening. I mean, mainly because Shipman just supplied them with forged death certificates explaining the cause of death. Written by him. What? Look, officers, I can prove I didn't kill her. Here's a slip of paper that says exactly how she died. Written by me. I mean, if that's not proof, I don't know what is. And again, guys, remember, this guy is a doctor. La-dee-da. Accusing a doctor of being a serial killer? It's preposterous. It'd be like accusing a Catholic priest of being a pedophile. It's unthinkable. And you know what it reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of like Catch Me If You Can. Like nobody questions the airline pilot or, when he's the doctor. I mean, we just take their word for it. You know that scene like where Leo just pretends to be the teacher or the FBI agent? You see, like if you exude confidence and have status, maybe that's all you need. I mean, most of you guys listen to what I spout. Is it just because I say it confidently? So if Harold Shipman had looked like everyone's idea of a serial killer, maybe people would have looked closer. But he did not. He had status, trust, and a white coat force field. We love the idea that evil announces itself. The fantasy is that it looks creepy, gives off a vibe, or can be like spotted from across the room. And I guess sometimes it can. Like, I mean, we did just talk about Pickton, but most of the time, real life is uglier than that. Again, wait, not uglier than Pickton.
Ugly motherfucker.
Sometimes evil is sitting in an office with diplomas on the wall while everyone says, well, he seems very professional. The mistake here is not just bad policing. It's deference. It's the assumption that a respectable professional could not possibly be doing something monstrous. And listen, again, I get it. If someone told you, I think this beloved local doctor might be murdering his patients. I mean, do you think, that sounds insane. But I mean, that's why investigations exist. Not to accept the most comfortable explanation, to test it. And in Shipman's case, that test failed. So, these cases, they're all different. Different countries, different eras, different excuses. Dahmer was one horrifying moment. Sutcliffe was tunnel vision. Pickton was years of people not being listened to. And Shipman was status acting like camouflage. But the pattern is the same. Someone should have looked closer. And again, I know catching a serial killer is hard. I know it's very, very easy to sit here decades later with all the information laid out neatly and say, how did they miss this? Hindsight's unfair. It always is. But some of these cases, they just weren't hindsight. Some of these were alarms going off in real time. A child in the street. A suspect interviewed 9 times. A pig farmer surrounded by warnings. A doctor with an impossible number of dead patients. I hope you liked today's episode, if like's the right word. And if you did, let me know about it down in the comments. And also let me know which other cases belong in this conversation, because unfortunately there's so many more. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe. And you know what? Maybe don't let Wearside Jack run your entire investigation. I'll see you in the next one.